Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us for this presentation about Gateway Community Power. If you're joining us for the first time and you're new to Zoom, there's a couple helpful hints for you. If you use speaker view, then you'll be able to see the program at full screen. Your microphone and camera, you'll notice, are off, and they'll remain off during the presentation. But if you would like to ask a question, you just need to use the Q&A feature. So usually down towards the bottom of your screen, if you put your cursor there, you should get a kind of a pull-up menu, and you should see the Q&A button. And if you just click that, then you'll see a little space where you can type a question. And we're happy to address those at the end of the program. We'll just give a couple more minutes for people to join us. But you will see the logo here for Gateway Community Power, and there is a website, gatewaycommunitypower.com. Okay, so the Village of Victor has started down a path of offering some clean energy choices for the residents and small businesses. You will see at the bottom of the screen here, the logo obviously for the Village of Victor, but also for Jewel Community Power, which is a division of Jewel Assets. And Jewel is the approved, New York State approved CCA Administrator. That's the name, or the official name of this program is Community Choice Aggregation. And Jewel is approved by the state of New York to administer these types of programs. Rocktricity, the logo on the bottom right, is the local program manager. And that includes myself, Susan Hughes Smith, and my partners, Ben Freevert, Melissa Carlson, and Marky Pete. So if you have any questions today, another day, you can contact us and we're happy to answer them. And if you call us, we're located right here in Rochester. I'm happy to help you. So Victor is launching a Community Choice Aggregation Program, or CCA. And the program officially will begin on January 1st, 2021. So less than a month away. The name of the group that the Village of Victor is a part of is called Gateway Community Power. And if you go to gatewaycommunitypower.com, that website contains the information that I'm reviewing this evening, plus quite a bit of other pieces of information, including press and how to enroll or disenroll, how to contact us. So there's lots of information on the website, and the aggregation includes both the Village of Victor and the City of Canandaigua. So this evening, I'm going to review what Community Choice Aggregation is, the benefits of it, then the specific contract details, whether CCA will affect you and what the bill will look like, and then the up and coming next steps. So Community Choice Aggregation, which is a mouthful, often abbreviated CCA, is an energy purchase program, and it was authorized by the state of New York, technically by the Public Service Commission, in April of 2016. And what this does is it moves the authority of the state telling the utility who to select to purchase electricity from, to the local municipality making the decision for the default supplier. And municipalities can also aggregate the energy demand of the businesses and the residences, and having a large pool of demand allows the municipalities to negotiate a better price through bulk purchasing. So all energy customers are eligible to participate, but some are automatically included in the program, and those are rules established by the Public Service Commission. And when you're automatically included, that's described as opt-out treatment. So many residents and small businesses will have received a letter with the details about this program and a card for opting out if they choose not to participate. Large energy consumers could choose to join the program, but they would need to opt in. So the benefits of community choice aggregation, there's a couple different things. One is, as I described, is using bulk purchasing in order to get better terms for the electricity. Next is trying to achieve savings for residents and small businesses. So the third is reducing price volatility, and that's by having a fixed rate for the entire length of the contract. It also allows the default supplier, who is determined who the default supplier is, to be a decision made by your local government. And the goal of the Public Service Commission is to accelerate the transition to renewable energy. By increasing the demand for renewable purchasing, that sends a signal to the marketplace that over time will increase renewable electricity on our grid. So if you look at the diagram on the right-hand side of the screen, you will see the red dashed line that's going up and down, and that represents the wholesale electric market. The utility, RG&E, the rules that apply to them require that RG&E purchase from the market, and each month our electric supply rate can vary. For example, this month it's 4.6 cents per kilowatt hour. The green line is showing kind of just a steady straight line. That's representing the CCA rate, where for the next 24 months, people who participate in community choice aggregation will have the same supply rate each month. So you can see some months the market may be higher than the CCA rate, and some months the market may be below. So the goal of deciding how, where to benchmark the CCA price was achieved by looking at what was RG&E's average rate for the previous 2 years. And then the price for the CCA was set just below that. The hope is that this will achieve savings into the future, but it is not a guarantee. So the contract details, the winning bidder was Source Power. So there was a competitive process. The administrator went to the open market and asked for electric bids that would beat RG&E's previous 24 months average price. And that is what was achieved. So Source Power is offering 24 months of 100% New York renewable electricity at a rate of $0.04292 per kilowatt hour, or just under 4.3 cents per kilowatt hour. This price will not change for 24 months. So beginning in January of 2021, it will be that rate for 2 years. So CCA will affect you if you are a customer enrolled on an opt-out basis, which should be most residents and small businesses that are located in the village of Victor. So it's important to recognize that this program is just for the village. If you're in the town of Victor, you are not eligible because the town has not gone through the steps to implement the program. This is restricted just to the village residents and small businesses. Now, if you're in the village or small business, if you're in the village of Victor as a resident or small business, you should have received a letter in the mail on village letterhead indicating the details of the program. If you did not receive a letter, it may be for one of the following reasons, because these customers will not be automatically included. So If you have already selected a third-party supplier, sometimes called an ESCO, then you are not automatically included. If you are a customer that's billed based on demand, usually those are only organizations that have very large electric usage and rarely applies to any kind of small business or resident. If you have placed a freeze or block on your account at some point with RG&E, then you would not have received a letter. And finally, if you are participating in the Home Energy Assistance Program, or HEAP, the rules of the HEAP program prohibit your participation in this particular CCA program. So all other customers will be automatically enrolled unless you take an action before the program begins. Now, you can always be enrolled and choose to leave later if you want to, see how it goes. But if you know you never want to participate, then you need to act before December 21st. So will your electric bill look different? Yes, it will. But it will still be RG&E's electric bill. RG&E will still be sending you the bill, and it will only be one bill. What will happen is simply that where the supply details are will move. And I'm going to show you a picture of this in just a second. With RG&E purchasing electricity on your behalf, they have the delivery information and then the supply information. But under CCA, the supply information is going to move deeper into the bill. So here's an example RG&E bill. And as I was saying, you'll notice the two red ovals, one for electric delivery charges, and then the other for electric supply charges. So why are there two separate charges? Well, RG&E needs to be paid to maintain the poles and the wires, their staff, and billing. And those details, the payments to RG&E are covered in the electric delivery charges. And I just want to note for you that the delivery charge is also a rate. Okay, it's a per kilowatt hour rate. The delivery charges are not affected by CCA. The Community Choice Aggregation program is only applying to the electric supply charges. So Gateway Community Power is giving you a better price for the electric supply. The other thing to know, if you're looking to compare your current bill to the rate, the just under 4.3 cents per kilowatt hour rate, is that in your bill from RG&E, there are actually several charges, and you would have to add all of those up to get the full electric supply rate. In the CCA program, there is just the one charge. So let's look at what happens when we have community choice aggregation. First, at the very beginning of your bill, under the consolidated account summary, you will see the supply charges listed separately from RG&E's charges. So now you will notice in February, because the program starts in January, so in your February bill should show source power as the new ESCO and the price for the actual electrons or the supply listed accordingly. Next, further into your utility bill, you will notice that the supply portion has moved. It's no longer underneath the delivery charges where it used to be. Instead, it's further into your bill under messages. And again, you should see the name source power, and then you will simply see the electric charge, the kilowatts used, the rate, and then the total price. So next steps, you should have received a program information letter in the mail that was on the Village of Victor letterhead, and there was a card inside. If you did not want to participate, you simply can put that card in the mail and you will be removed from the program. We, of course, hope you'll participate because we think 100% renewable electricity for 4.3 cents is a fantastic price. The new supplier, one other thing, you may have also gotten a phone call yesterday or today from RG&E. RG&E is trying to help inform the community that you've received this letter and was pointing you to review the details listed. In February, you will begin to see source power listed on your bill if you choose to stay into the program. And finally, you will also have noticed that there is a flyer in the letter about a community solar program. Now, that is a separate program from what I'm talking about this evening. And if you would like more details, you can either call the phone number that's on that flyer, or you can reach out to us at Rocktricity. So again, Gateway Community Power is the program name. And on that website, gatewaycommunitypower.com, you can find all of this information and more. Please direct your questions to us at Rocktricity, your local program manager. You can reach us by phone at 585-244-0244, or email us at info@rocktricity.com or at info@gatewaycommunitypower.com. Both will work. You'll reach the same people. So really just a matter of which one you remember. And I'm going to leave that screen up while we take any questions that you may have.
So yeah, there are a couple of questions coming in, Sue. The first one is, are there any other fees related to the program beyond the fixed rate of 0.04292?
Thank you, Ben. No, there are no other fees associated with the program. There's no fees at all associated with the program. You're simply being given the opportunity to access a fixed price for electricity and for 100% renewable electricity. And I'd just like to mention that that price for this same product, if I as an individual consumer was trying to access a 24-month, no exit fee, 100% renewable product, it would cost 25% more than this price. You can look online. The cheapest offer is at a 6.1 cent. So this is really a good value for the product that is being offered, and is just below RG&E's previous 24 months of just dirty energy.
Yeah, so I might just add there, Sue, also that because we've had some questions about it, if you compare that rate, the 4.292 cents per kilowatt hour, to your bill, you want to make sure about a couple of things. First, you want to make sure you're comparing to the supply rate and not the demand rate that Sue pointed out a minute ago. In addition, your supply rate on your electric bill as it appears now, in order to compare to this new rate, you need to also add the merchant function charge and the tax that's being applied to your supply by RG&E. So you need to add those things on your bill and then make the comparison. Some are comparing before adding those things up to just the base supply rate. This 4292 is an all-in rate that includes all of those things in it.
Thank you, Ben.
So the next question is, how is Rocktricity compensated?
Yeah, another interesting question. And so the administrator, Jewel Community Power, and ourselves, Rocktricity, will split an administrative fee, and that fee is embedded into the per kilowatt hour price of the electricity. And the suppliers, Source Power, knew that when they were bidding, and it's a part of that 4.292 cents per kilowatt hour. It's actually 0.0008 cents per kilowatt hour. So this is not a fee anyone will ever see on a bill. It's been embedded into the price of the electricity. And then that fee will be split between ourselves and Jewel Community Power for our work. And it amounts to, for most consumers, somewhere between $3 and $6 per year per account. But
Okay.
as I said, you will never see that as a separate rate or fee.
So another question, why is there such little granularity on electric usage from source power?
Well, I'm not sure I know what they mean. Do you think you know, Ben?
Well, I'm not quite sure, but I'm just going to speculate that maybe because you can only see that base rate from source power and you don't see any of the details there.
Oh.
And if that's the question, I think the answer is because source power is a private company and as compared to RG&E, who is not, who is a very tightly regulated natural monopoly.
So what you're saying, Ben, is the rules for an ESCO versus the rules for RG&E simply are set differently.
That's correct. Yeah. So another question, what questions have you received since the last broadcast that you can respond to?
Oh, let's see. We've received some questions about the difference between community solar and this community choice aggregation program. So maybe I should touch on that. So if you have solar panels on your house, you can still participate in community choice aggregation. In fact, you're getting the full advantage of renewable energy and of cost savings if that's the case. The other option is if you are a member of a community solar program, you can also be a member of Gateway Community Power's a CCA program. And again, you're taking advantage of the full savings and the full access to renewable energy. So that's one important thing. Another question that came in was asking about ownership. So, and I do want to point out that Jewel Assets, which is based in Westchester County, though they do have staff both in New York State and in Europe, in one country in Europe, that they don't own any other CCA companies, right? So Rocktricity, for example, is their local program manager. We're an independent company that the four of us actually began with the Rochester People's Climate Coalition, advocating for municipalities to access more renewable energy. And then we formed a small business to help implement these programs. So that's why we split the fee with them. We're not owned by them. And there are other CCA administrators that are active in New York State. They just are active in other communities in New York State. Yeah, I think that's it. And Jewel does not own any of the solar fields that are associated with the community solar programs. They're just acting as a broker, helping communities and their residents and small businesses access these renewable energy savings.
So there's sort of another question here that's a bit of a follow-on to that first point you made about the fact that we're getting some questions that indicate a bit of confusion between the CCA program and the community solar. And it is this: the flyer from the village indicates raises money for local Victor sustainability efforts. And I think that may touch on this same sort of confusion.
Yeah, that's helpful. Okay, so so the CCA program, which I already described, is just for residents and small businesses and doesn't accrue any funds to the village. Okay, but for any resident or small business that would like to save additional money, they might consider joining a community solar field that is being offered also through Source Power. So Source does, I guess, own or manage 4 solar fields in New York And if you would like to subscribe to their solar field, they will guarantee a 5% savings to any subscribers annually over the entire electric bill, both delivery and supply. Now, the benefit to the municipality is that $50 for each subscription, $50 will be put into a fund that will go towards another sustainability project in the village.
So there was another comment here just a second ago to the effect that there was no start reading, and I think what they mean is there's no in the information there wasn't really a initial reading from the meter that was indicated, and I think this gets to the point of the start of the CCA program. So you might want to elaborate on that.
Sure, right. So officially the program begins on January 1st, but not everybody gets their meter read on the same day. So it begins actually for each participant, it begins at your first meter read after the new year. So the meters get read kind of in a rolling basis. So wherever you are in that month, your meter gets read, then you get the new price begins that next day, I guess.
So another question, actually, this is kind of two questions here, and I'll give them to you one at a time. If supply charges drop significantly and you wish to opt out at a later date, what is the process?
Yeah, you can simply go to the website is one option. So if you go to Gateway Community Power and you can find the tab for enrolling, and if you click that, you could then opt out answering those questions. Or you can call us and we are happy to do that, walk you through that process. We would go through the process of entering in the information that you gave us. So you can call us at 244-0244 at any time, at any month that you want to either join or exit the program, or you can use the website, gatewaycommunitypower.com.
And then there's another question here, and we have had this one a few times too. So this kind of harkens back to the earlier question about other questions we've had since the initial broadcast. And it is, what happens after the 24-month period? Right,
that's a good question too. So before we hit the 24 months, I would expect that the energy manager, Jewel, would go back out to bid, back out to the open wholesale marketplace and see what the prices, the best prices are available at that time. Those options would be presented to the Victor Village board and mayor, and they would decide if they wanted to select from one of those options and continue the program. And if they do continue the program, there will be a new letter and another round, I expect, of answering questions to give the price details. If for some reason that there was not a good offer, then it would simply revert back to RG&E doing the purchasing on your behalf. But at no point would there be a break in electricity service. It's simply a switch. It's a financial switch of who is the electricity is being purchased from, and therefore who is getting paid.
Okay, so this next question, I might be struggling a little to understand exactly what is meant here, but will joining Gateway Community Power and opting in to Community Solar always be less expensive than just joining the CCA?
So I think the answer to that is yes, because Community Solar is a guaranteed savings. So where the CCA is a likely savings, Community Solar is going to be guaranteed to save you 5% off your total electric bill annually. Now that does mean in the winter, when we don't have a lot of sun, the savings will be small, and then in the summer, the savings will be larger. But at the end of the year, Source is guaranteeing that they will make sure you have saved 5% off your total bill for the year. So I think it will always be a savings to participate in Community Solar, but it also means you will get a second bill. And that's important to think about. So the savings from community solar are put on your utility bill. So at the end of your utility bill, under kind of miscellaneous notes again, it will say, if you're participating, it will say something like CDG value stack savings or credit, and there'll be a subtraction. But then the solar company will send you a bill for 90% or 95% of the cost of those credits that are on your utility bill. So community solar is a savings, but right now it also means you would have a second bill.
So
hopefully that answers the question.
that's kind of the end of our attendee questions, but I just was thinking about another question that we sometimes get, and at the risk of confusing the two programs, we want to make sure we're not confusing community choice aggregation and community solar, but we sometimes get questions about the community solar from people who have rooftop solar or are already in another community solar program. So you might talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, okay, sure. So I think what you're asking, Ben, is can you have rooftop solar and participate in a community solar array or farm? And the answer to that is no. You can do one or the other. You can do rooftop and CCA or community solar and CCA, but you cannot do rooftop solar and community solar. Is that what you're getting at, Ben?
Yeah, and the fact that you can't participate in more than one community solar program at a time. So you have to, you would have to make a choice there if you're already in one, or you were considering two different ones or something like that.
Right, and some people may have already signed up with, say, a Green Spark or a SunCommon or one of the many other community solar fields. Yes, and so you would not want to, you would not be eligible to do two community solars. That's true. Thank you.
Okay, well, that is all of the questions that we have.
Okay, sounds good. All right, well, thank you all for joining us this evening, and do reach out to us if you have any more questions. Have a good night.